Hey guys, I'm back again after a couple of weeks with another How to Digitally Paint Megaman X. It's been a while, yeah, but I'm here again. Sorry for the kind of a delay. I like to push out videos probably every week, especially if it's going to be 3 parts. But since I don't have the best computer in the world, but I still love my computer, it takes me a long time to render out videos and then edit them and put it together all by myself. Plus I have some other stuff that I'm doing too, so it just takes a little bit of time. But let's get into this video since it's gonna be pretty long. I decided to make it 20 minutes because it's a lot of rendering, and I kind of want you guys to see what I do in its entirety instead of lowering it to 10 minutes or so. So I'm gonna start it up right now. Alright, so when we last left off, you probably just saw me do some more of this line work. Yeah, I can't remember exactly if we stopped here or not, but we can just take a look back and then see the line work as it goes. Yeah, so you're gonna see me flipping a lot of back and forth between images just because I'm on my laptop and I don't have two screens up. So right now what I'm trying to do is figure out a background color, so I'm just playing around with the gradient tool. I know Megaman's blue, so to counteract that blue, I'm making like an orangish background. What that does is add contrast to the image, and it makes the blue stand out a lot more than the actual, than having two blues on together, or having like two cool colors like a blue and like I would say probably a darker purple or something in the background. It kind of blends that too much. So what I do is add the orange, which adds the blue is like a cool color and the background orange is like a warm color. So it kind of like plays off each other. So what I like to do generally when I start off after the line work is blocking the colors. You see, as of right now, I blocked in like the blue for his line work, and I put it on a separate layer, and I made sure I'm not gonna block in too tight right now. I'm just gonna block out the overall form and stuff. Make sure there's some leeway so I can always go back and erase. I find that to be probably the best thing to do, so you don't focus on and kill yourself trying to get everything right in the first place, and then you can always go back and clean up. So I also added colors on the side there. What that does is like help me keep track of all his colors, and I can just color pick from there instead of color picking from the image, because I know I'm gonna start blending soon. So yeah, like right now I'm focusing on his head, his head first. Mostly I do that because people like to focus on that, and that's kind of like the first thing they see in the image, especially with Mega Man. They want to see his face and make sure he lives up to Mega Man. So I'm just blocking in the colors right now using, if you can look at my brush tools, you can see transfer. The flow jitter is on pen pressure, and the opacity is off. What this does is just give me a good solid color without and I can get a little bit of I can get a little bit of opacity from that flow too, just a little bit. So I'm just laying down the basic colors. His helmet's very round and reflecting, like it reflects a lot of light, so just laying out everything. I'm not really trying to focus too much on the detail and blending. I'm just laying down ground colors and trying to figure out what I want. Another thing that I do is add this like rim light right here, this orange kind of rim light. I put it on a different layer because I don't want it to mess up or interact with my other layer, my Mega Man layer. So I put it on a different layer, and it's always prone to change. Right now I have it on this side of the face, but as you can see later, I'm going to change it. So it's good to have that on separate layer just in case you mess up and want to change it up. Alright, so right now still detailing faces, laying down basic shadows, lights, and rim. Not focusing too much, but I want to get some detail down in his nose and his mouth area, just so I have a basic groundwork I can play with and I can come back to later. Little known fact, when I was working on this image was not done in one day. It was done in a couple of sittings, probably 3 or 4 days, the span of that. And normally when I do that, it's kind of hard to, the next day to get back into the flow of the image, but I feel that when you do that, you can always come back with fresh eyes and everything looks a lot better. So yeah, you can see that that it looks, sometimes you miss errors if you work on something too long, so it's better to just come back with fresh eyes. So another thing that I found very important in this is working with the lasso tool. Since Megaman is kind of organic and mechanical at the same time, he's going to have a lot of hard edges, and in his face it's going to be very soft. So to emulate that, the lasso tool works excellent on that. Excellent. So I'm just like, laying out these base colors, going in, just trying to lay down everything really quick. I decided to finish up his head, not really finish it up, but get it to a good state first, so I can base my image off of that. If I need a color pick from his face, then that's cool too, but getting that down first kind of gave me that motivation to keep going. So I'm just going in there, trying to add different colors quickly, and pretty smooth, laying down those shadows and getting just the overall look and feel down. What I really wanted to do with this piece is make it feel 3D. I didn't want to have it feeling like too flat. I feel that when you have flat images, it's not as exciting to the viewer as you'd want to portray. So what I'm doing is really trying to take from my imagination and take from life, doing a lot of life art or life practices. Really helps open up that library in your face about what reflects and how they reflect off light, etc. So I'm just trying to emulate that and make it feel as if it's 3D in space. Basically the detailing part is probably the longest part. It can be kind of boring at times, I guess, but just because your image is not going to look excellent until later on, and it might put you off just because it's like, oh man, it's a lot of work to do. But once you get into that flow and you see things taking shape, you're gonna be like, man, yes, I'm glad I stuck with it, and you're gonna feel more motivated to keep going. So as you can see though, I flip my image a lot. A lot of people ask, why do you flip, etc. Main reason is to spot errors. Say you're working on an image forever and you're like, yes, this looks awesome, and and then you're like, let me just try this, and you flip it and you put like 40 minutes of work into this, and you flip it and you're like, oh man, like the face is all disfigured and the stance doesn't look right. When you flip it, it's like looking at it with brand new eyes again too. It's just a whole new image, and then you spot the errors that you would have missed before. So it's always good to flip your images. Alright, right there I just added some atmospheric fog to behind his shooting arm. What I noticed to make things feel 3D, there's a couple of things that you can do. One of the first things that I do is add atmospheric fog. What does that do, you ask? Basically it pushes images back into space, and it makes the thing that's ahead of the atmospheric fog look like it's coming at you. Another thing is edges. Edges. One of the most important things that I've learned that I really overlooked before, and I'm still learning actually, is edges. Number one thing, if you want something to pop out at you, work on your edges. With just simple edges, you can achieve a crazy 3D effect that you would never imagine. So I would say work on those. I can give you a better example of edges later on, but let's see if I can get into that. Let's see. Basically, with the edges, I'm going to try to explain it real quick. Things that are receding are going to kind of have like a soft like coloring effect, and things behind it are going to be a little bit more sharper. It's really hard to explain right now without giving an example, but when I see something, I'll definitely keep that in mind. So right now I'm going in with that rim layer and trying to figure out where I want this rim light to be. As you can see, I erased the other rim off his face just because I didn't like where the light was coming from. I felt like it should be coming from this left side more, just because the way the fire is going, it's kind of blowing to the right side, so the light would be coming from the left. And one of the most important things too is when you're doing this rim light layer, do not be lax on it. You know, don't just make lines and, you know, expect it to be a rim. Rim light is very important in rendering 3D objects, just because the light actually goes into the objects a little bit more. It's not just a straight like outline of everything. So just focus carefully. If you can see how I did it, you can see some of the light actually overlaps different objects. So right now I'm just going in there, adding soft what do you call it, coloring to some of the objects. It's good to have a good play between hard and soft, just because it makes the eye more appealing. Well, it's more appealing to the eye, I would say. And everything in life is not sharp. You know, everything is not just super sharp or super soft. You want to have that nice play between the both, and you can also lead the viewer's eye with that too. Excuse me. So you're gonna see me rendering a lot of this. This is probably the longest part. What I noticed with Megaman's gun is that the way I had it before was a little, what did I say, weird. So I decided to add like this other layer on top of his gun to make it feel a little bit more authentic. And I'm just going in there and blurring and coloring some more. Yeah, so I'm really trying to push that 3D effect in this image as much as I can. When I started this, I really didn't think I was gonna put so much detail in this. I kind of wanted to give you guys a video, and you know, because I haven't been on in a while. But I decided, you know what, my viewers deserve something awesome. So I decided to take it to the next level. Okay, so what I'm doing there is just checking up all my layers, making sure everything's fitting right, and what do you call it, renaming some of the layers so that I can understand what's going on a lot easier. It's good to, especially with this image, there was a lot of layers used, and a lot of my works from my imagination, I use a lot of layers just to keep everything organized, and just in case I don't like something, I can always delete it and come back to it. So what I do is name the most important layers, so I know what's going on and I know where it lies, because it's easy to get like caught up in everything and not know what's going on, especially when you use a lot of layers. So right now I'm going detailing the face a bit more. Like I said before in my other video, I wanted to keep this like gritty Mega Man feel without getting too realistic. But I wanted it to feel like he was in a battle, and you know, he's just like ready, and you know, maybe he's been beat up a little bit, so I'm trying to get that feeling in his face. Right here I wanted to add kind of like the shadow coming on the left side of his face, just because the way the light is coming, his helmet would kind of shadow his face a bit, and it also gives a cool contrast between his left side, which is kind of dark, and his right side, which is light. Alright, so also what I like to do is, you know, one thing that I kind of overlooked also was textures in an image. I really don't like to keep things too glossy, I would say, or too Photoshop-like, just because it just doesn't have that feeling of grit to it. I mean, it's good for other things, but you know, for this image I wanted to add that grit. So textures play a big part. What I normally do is, you know, I get everything down nice and smooth, and then I go back in with the textures and just go crazy with it. But I don't go too crazy where there's textures everywhere. I try to place it a little bit smart where I can lead the viewer's eye up the texture into where I want to go. So since his foot is like pretty much prominent in the picture, his front foot, I definitely had to have some type of texture there to draw the eye a little bit, and then have it like go up his leg to his gun. So adding this atmospheric fog, pushing his leg back now, and his other parts of his body, it just really helps push everything in space and have what I want to be in front pop out. And just going in there, messing with the color balance. Alright, so what I did here was, it kind of jumped a little bit, but what I did here was I copied everything from my Megaman layer and made a new image, or a new file, and pasted him in there with everything flattened. And I just took the simple background and put it in behind it. And why I did this, well, number one reason was because my computer was running crazy slow. I had so many images, and it's a huge file, and it's just getting too crazy. So I was like, I have to put this on another layer. Also, the second part why I did this was because it just makes everything a lot more smooth. I don't have to mess with all the layers, and it's just easier to add details without having to scroll through everything. So at this point I had two saves of Megaman with all the layers, and this Megaman while I'm adding stuff. So right now I'm adding all these dings and battle scars, etc. to his body. I like to add this after the fact of everything, just because and add it on another layer, just because if I don't like something, I can always erase it and come back to it. But at this point I feel that it was going pretty well. So this is probably one of the most fun parts, now actually beating up Megaman, just because I've been rendering him so clean-like and smooth that after doing that, it's good to just give him some battle scars and make him feel kind of badass. So this is another place where edges will come into play. With the dings and stuff like that, I wanted to make sure that they were hard and looked like they went into his body, so a lot of hard edges were made here. And then on the outside of those, I decided to soften it up, just so the play of soft to hard edges really pushes the feeling of the dings on his and scratches on the scars. So what I can suggest to you guys, if you are watching, definitely research edges, because edges will bring your pictures to a whole nother level. And that's also the reason why I have Megaman on his own layer, just so I can clean him up and erase, and he's gonna be a lot harder in his edges compared to the background. And the thing is too, if you ever want to go back and soften it up, you can do that a lot easier. And I'm just going in there, cleaning up some more of the detail. This part right here took quite a bit of a while, just because I never did scratches and dents to this kind of detail, detail, I guess, and complexity. So it was kind of fun to push myself and try new things, and I learned a lot from doing this one image. Just messing around. Trying to, also with these scratches, is I'm trying to lead the eye up. Everything is placed there for a reason. So I'm really trying to lead the eye up to his face, so it's like running up his leg and pulling up to his face. And I also had kept in mind was the idea that maybe he fought Cutman, so he has all these like scratches and these long scratches coming through his body, and maybe he also survived the blast, so some of the shards like ripped through his armor. So it's good to have like a small little story in your mind while you're doing these things, just so the scratches and everything feel more authentic. I guess you can basically it feels a little bit more authentic in my perspective, and it gives it a little bit more of a story. So I'm also going in here just adding some more texture and dirtying it up a bit. I decided to change his eyes to the placement just because I felt like he was staring at the audience too much and not where his gun was, and I didn't want that. I didn't want him looking at you and then he's pointing his gun somewhere else, so I just moved his eyes a little bit so he's looking more at maybe a person or somebody there that he's fighting instead of, hey you, I see you, you know. So I'm just going there and detailing, adding like these corner of the nose and making it feel scrunched up, like he's like, you know, gritting his teeth. You know, just checking my values and everything. So we're coming close to the end of this video, and just adding small little details. So we finished with number 2, part 2 of how to paint digitally Megaman X. So you can see that pretty much the process up there. This video was actually more like 2 hours long, and I had to condense it to 20 minutes, and it still went by pretty fast. So yeah, so there's still part 3 to go. So I'll see you guys back in the epic conclusion of how to paint digitally Megaman X, and don't forget to check out my blog. There's a lot of things that I don't post anywhere else on there. It's www.sayedmessiaharts.tumblr.com. You can also see that in the details section, and I'll see you guys till next time.